Hey everybody, welcome back to the 31 days of Halloween. Today is day 20 already. It's hard to believe. It seems like it wasn't even October a little while ago, but we're on day 20. And for today, I watched Skinner. This is kind of like what I would consider a lost film. I didn't even know it existed. I'd never seen it until a few years ago. Severin fixed up a print that they had and released it, and I didn't even know it existed. It was directed by Ivan Nagy, and he hasn't really done anything. This is probably the only thing he's directed that's like made it anywhere or done anything, got any kind of proper release. A bunch of the other stuff he's done are like TV movies, and then some like I don't know, like short films, things like that. Um, this movie actually stars Ted Raimi, who is Sam Raimi's brother. He did some of the stunt work for some of the Evil Dead movies. I mean, he's all over the place. And I actually laughed when I saw this because I thought, as soon as I saw this name and the opening credits, I thought, okay, this has got to be somebody else with this name. And then I saw her and I was like, oh my God, it's Ricki Lake. And if you don't know who Ricki Lake is, she was one of the kind of like morning talk show hosts back in the early 90s, mid 90s. Kind of, like Phil Donahue. Oprah was still doing it back then. Geraldo. So nowadays she would be kind of like maybe like Dr. Phil, I guess, is a good comparison, I think. Kind of a joke in some circles. But the movie is about Ted Raimi's character is just a killer. He's a wild guy. He's kind of like, in this movie, he's basically Ed Gein. And, he's got this woman who's trailing him, played by Traci Lords. She's beautiful in this movie, besides the prosthetics. She looks amazing. And she's kind of trailing him, trying to kill him. In a way, this is a lot like Absurd in a lot of ways, only she's not a priest. She's one of his prior victims. And so Ted Raimi is looking for a place to stay. He's going from town to town, and Ricki Lake's character has a room up for rent, and she's living with her husband. And so she gives Ted Raimi this room, and so he lives in this house with her. And, other than that, Ted Raimi's just wandering the streets, trying to kill mostly hookers. And then he, skins them, thus the name Skinner. And also, the funny thing is his last name is Skinner. So I don't, it's kind of a double play on words, I guess. And then he takes their skin and wears their skin. There's a couple really crazy scenes in the movie, mad, acid trip scenes in the movie where he's wearing a women's skin outfit. It's all stitched together, and the head's stitched on, the arms are stitched on with the hands and everything, and he's just going insane. It's like Ted Raimi absolutely kills it in this movie. He just goes for the he's going for it. It's the work he did here is crazy that he kind of, I don't know, wasted it on this movie because he goes absolutely balls out. And Traci Lords is very bad in this movie. She overdoes everything. She overacts everything. Her character is kind of hurt in the movie, and so she's supposed to have kind of a limp, but it's so overdone, and she's supposed to kind of be in pain in some scenes, and it's just overdone, and it's distracting, to be honest. But luckily she only has a couple scenes. She's not in the movie a lot. I'm guessing that was by design. Maybe she was over their payroll, and so they just kind of had her come in and do a few scenes here and there. There is kind of a weird scene where, I can tell you this because it's not a spoiler, she's always kind of stalking Skinner, and she keeps saying, she says this multiple times, Skinner, you're a creature of habit. And, she just keeps watching him and watching him and watching him. And then this guy who she's renting a room for comes in there, and he's like, oh, you want to know where he lives at? Do you want to know where he stays? And she kind of is like, yes, yes. And it's like, why wouldn't you know where he stays? You've been trailing him this whole time. This is towards the end of the movie, and you still don't know where he stays? You've been following him forever. I mean, maybe her limp prevents her. That's the only thing that justifies it for me, is that she knows about where he'll go by, but she can't follow him because of her limp, and she'll trail behind. But that part of the movie made me go, what? You know, the gore is really good. There's not a whole, honestly, there's not a whole lot of it, because a lot of it is like they'll show, well, there is one scene where there's a lot of it, but it's towards the end a little bit. But, you know, it'll mostly just show him, like, going in for a cut down, and then maybe some blood, and then that's it for a while. And then there's one scene where he's completely splaying a woman's back open, and then, like, pinching it open, and you can see her muscle and everything underneath there. It's a pretty sleazy movie, if I'm honest. There's not a whole lot of a plot, you know, basically Ted Raimi going around killing hookers, and then, you know, wearing their skin. And that's about it. It's almost like one of those movies where it's like a day in the life of, you know, whoever, you know, day in the life of Skinner. Only there's kind of a little bit of an ending here. It's didn't really go the way, well, it didn't go the way I thought it was going to go, especially as the ending was unfolding. And then something else kind of came out of left field, and it ended a little bit differently than I expected. Like, if it was going to end the way that I thought it was going to end, I was going to go into spoiler territory here and tell you how much better it could have been, because I even still have a better ending in my head. But I don't want to spoil it for you guys. It's nothing crazy. I just don't like to spoil movies. So for me, this is a movie that's tough for me to give like a 3, because it wasn't really that. It was so slow getting started. Like, if you watch, like, at least, like, from the midpoint, like, if you forego all of the kind of introductions and niceties that the movie has, you get into the gut of the movie, which is what you're watching for. I guess I could give it a 3, you know, I guess. Begrudgingly a 3. Because it's probably worth a watch if you like slasher movies, and there are some intense scenes like you would see in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So if you like that kind of tension and that kind of, like, madness and things like that, you might like Skinner. It doesn't have that quality that Texas Chainsaw has, like that inherent quality. Maybe it's just because this movie was filmed in, like, 93, so it doesn't have, like, that gritty, you know, feeling to it, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre does. It has a feeling similar to that, especially in certain scenes. Like I said, it does get intense, and there are some pretty crazy kind of gory scenes going on. So if you're into that, you know, this isn't a bad watch. So that's Skinner for day 20 of the 31 Days of Halloween. I'm not sure what I'm watching tomorrow. Not at all. I've just been, there's certain days where I know what I'm going to pick. Just the days where I'm flying by the seat of my pants. And tomorrow is going to be one of those days right now. So just, you know, stay tuned for that one. So like the video if you like the review, and subscribe if you want to see more of these. I've been Luke the Goon, and I will see you guys tomorrow.